Hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, welcome back to the channel. And yes indeed, as voted on by fans, this list, admittedly, it will be somewhat Constructicon heavy, though that's not the only ones, to be sure. But this list is going to be the top 10 Transformers who have construction vehicle alt modes. That's our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below, also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this is going to be, as voted on by fans, the top 10 construction vehicles. Naturally, as you would expect, there will be a heavy slant to the Constructicons, and where they rank is pretty interesting. However, they most certainly are not the only ones who got votes, and obviously not the only ones to appear on the list, since, you know, there aren't 10 of them, right? We have one tie. We'll deal with that in just a little bit. We also only have one honorable mention, and that honorable mention is Wedge from RID 2001. I really thought that we were going to have kind of all of the build team, because I'm pretty sure Wedge is one of the build team, right? Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought that we were going to get more of them kind of appear here, and we kind of didn't, so Wedge is very interesting that he did. I also expected to get more Rescue Bots votes than we got, but anyway, it is what it is. So that's our one honorable mention, Wedge. And that's it. Did not make the list. Who did? You know what we're going to do. We're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. And kicking us off at number 10, we have a tie. The only tie on the list, and it's between this guy, that's right, it is, I believe this is Cybertron Landmine, and this guy, Scoop. Funny enough, Cybertron Landmine has a front-end loader alt mode. This guy's alt mode is called a payloader. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know the difference between a front-end loader and a payloader. These guys look pretty much to have the same alt mode. Any way you cut it, they are well-known tractors used for heavy pushing, heavy hauling, heavy lifting, and they both take the number 10 slot. Number 9 takes us to the first of the Constructicons with Scavenger, always looking to prove himself. The kind of, I don't want to say lovable loser, but he has low self-esteem. He's always trying to prove, like, I'm worth something, I can do things, and he excavates everywhere he goes because he's an excavator. I think that's what this is, right? This is an excavator. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that this is an excavator. And I don't know, like, I like this tractor, I like this alt mode, I think this is okay. A lot of the votes were for the G1, but a lot of people didn't specify, so I sort of automatically lumped them as G1 if you didn't specify. Like, if you didn't say Armada, or you didn't say, I don't know, there's a Beast Wars Scavenger, I think, or you didn't say, I don't know if there's an animated version, I know there's the live action version. So if it wasn't specified, it kind of got lumped with G1. This is the Combiner Wars representing the G1 alt mode, but yeah. Very well-known alt mode, very well-known Constructicon that takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8, we stick with the Constructicons, and we stick with the brutal bulldozer known as Bone Crusher. I mean, not much to say about Bone Crusher. I mean, the guy ain't fancy. He's just going to go in and tear everyone and everything up. And again, if it wasn't specified, it got lumped in with G1. This is represented by the Combiner Wars again. But, I mean, it has the alt mode that we need, right? It's that bulldozer. It pushes a lot of stuff, which kind of matches the character because he's pushy. He's rough. He's tough. He's aggressive. Just like his alt mode, which takes the number 8 slot. Now, number 7, I'm going to have to explain ever so slightly because it's Mixmaster. And yes, I know I'm showing Mixmaster backwards here from the Combiner Wars version. The Combiner Wars version of Mixmaster, to be fair, is not the one that got the votes. It was most definitely the G1. However, that being said, Can I put that on over? That being said, the alt mode here that everybody panned is like a gigantic industrial cement mixer. It's not your run-of-the-mill cement mixer that we see out around the town. This is what's going to be used for gigantic mega projects. Like this is the sort of cement mixer that would be used for, you know, if you're doing huge concrete bases for stuff, or you're doing, I don't know, oil fields or that sort of stuff, right? It's a mega project. There are innumerable upgrade kits that kind of give a proper cab here. So G1 Mixmaster and the typical cement mixer mode is what got most of the votes. However, I will also note that a bunch of people also like the alt mode as depicted in the live action movies. And specifically said the thing that was so cool about that alt mode is that there was a ton of gunmetal gray that looked really slick, but also when you saw the barrel roll and then you saw the Decepticon logo present itself in the film, that was a really cool moment. So while most of the votes were for G1, and even though I'm representing it with the Combiner Wars here, I would be remiss if I didn't at least give a nod to the live action version that also got some votes. Mixmaster, the maniacal Mixmaster, takes the number 7 slot. Number 6 sticks with a character that is a front-end loader once again, and has also been both Autobot and Decepticon by way of this guy. That's right, it is the animated scavenger. Obviously the coloration here is a nod to the Constructicons, and indeed he did spend some time as a Decepticon, presumably as a Constructicon. He is also being on the side of the Autobot. He's like a, I guess he's a mercenary, and like he's a veteran, and like he's, you know, tough and grizzled, and like I've seen some stuff and things. Like he's that type of guy. I think he helps train some of the younger Autobots and stuff like Hotshot and whatnot. Anyway you cut it, he has a very popular, very well used, now that we're doing this list, I didn't realize how well used, alt mode that is obviously meant for some sort of a construction project. Yes, Armada Scavenger definitely fits in. The fans feel that he is a strong enough construction vehicle that he was able to take the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark we have someone who feels very grandiose, someone who is a little bit of a snob, and someone who most certainly is an idealist and a perfectionist by way of Hook. Hook turns into a crane truck, obviously. Again, represented here by the Combiner Wars. The G1 is the one that had the votes. But yeah, I mean, come on. An obvious construction vehicle used for lifting stuff, hauling stuff. I really wish this part could move. But yeah, typically lifting stuff, hauling stuff, disabled to turn. I mean, normally this would be able to retract and extend and go down. A very useful vehicle for moving items from one place to the next. A very useful vehicle for any construction site, really. Hook, yeah, he takes the number 5 slot. And now, at number 4 we have this guy. That's right, it is Cybertron Metroplex. Whether you want to take the original or take the Legacy Titan, that's up to you. He turns into a wheel bucket excavator. These are not your typical construction vehicles by any stretch of the imagination. They are absolutely massive and gigantic. I actually input a picture of a real one when I did this guy's review. And if you look at that picture that's kind of input into that review, you'll see how big an actual car is next to this. It is, pardon the pun, quite the Titanic vehicle, and it is used for gigantic construction projects. We're talking about kind of mega projects, things like setting up oil fields and that sort of stuff. And those construction vehicles do tend to, of course, be quite oversized and quite enormous compared to, you know, what we typically see in the run of a day in a city at a construction site. These are taking what a construction vehicle is and amping it up to the absolute max. Undeniably a construction vehicle. Undeniably probably the biggest construction vehicle, if not one of the biggest. Cybertron Metroplex takes the number 4 slot. And now we are into the top 3. And at number 3 we have Grapple. Again, it was G1 Grapple, represented here by the Earthrise. I love this mold. A lot of people complain about the pegs back here breaking off. I have never had that issue. Again, the exact same sort of arguments here that existed for Hook are the same ones that... Oh, I should turn this around. My mistake. Like that. The same kind of arguments that were here for Hook being a crane truck are the exact same ones here. In fact, I think this is a little more successful than Hook since this one can actually move. This one also has a grabby claw, great for grabbing big rocks, big boxes, moving them out of the way. I don't know, pretty sure this guy helped build Metroplex, so he's around some of the biggest of the Transformers projects. And we all know how much pride and value he takes in building things, how he desperately wants to be great and do something great. Grapple takes the number 3 slot. Number 2 takes us to our 5th Constructicon with Long Haul, the dump truck known as Long Haul. There are a few dump trucks, maybe not as many dump trucks as we should have in Transformers, but there are a few dump trucks. I do think though that when you think of a dump truck, while you got, you know, other ones that might come to mind like when Demolisher finally gets his dump truck mode in Unicron Trilogy. Was that in Energon or was that in Cybertron? Wide Load? Like, I'm pretty sure Wide Load is a dump truck. But I think most people, myself included, tend to think of Long Haul when you think of a dump truck. I know I certainly do. Yeah, Long Haul, dump truck, takes the number 2 slot. And now we are at the very tippy top, number 1, and I think the one that took number 1 makes perfect sense. If we're doing a list of top 10 construction vehicles, then shouldn't number 1 be none other than the leader of the Constructicons himself, Scrapper. And like Scrapper is again a front-end loader, popular alt mode. The guy is a little more calm, a little more humble than a lot of the Constructicons, which probably makes him a good pick to be leader because he'll be more level-headed. He's also, considering we're talking about construction projects and vehicles, he's also one heck of a designer. Like, he can fabricate a design, and then the Constructicons and him can fabricate the entire project. Bring it all to fruition. Yes, leader of the Constructicons, classic construction vehicle, and a wonderful designer. Scrapper takes the number 1 slot. And that, my friends, is 10 down to 1. Once again, other ones that had votes, and there were many. RID Heavy Load, G1 Landfill, speaking of Demolisher, who I mentioned earlier, I think it was Energon, he got that alt mode. Armada Hoist, who was an excavator, if I'm not mistaken. Cybertron Mudflap, Revenge of the Fallen Mixmaster, who I talked about earlier. G1 Erector, who was a Micromaster. Thunderhoof. I was so glad to see RID Thunderhoof get one. Of course, he's a tractor. Let's see. XTB's version of Holler, the Velocitron Speedy 500 version of Holler. What else do I have here? Over here. There we go. Nose Cone, who's a drill tank, really. But certainly I think you could use that, certainly if you gotta be drilling through something. Minicon Backstop. Studio Series Scavenger. Energon Scorponok. I thought that was a very creative vote. Revenge of the Fallen Demolisher, Quick Mix, Minicon Panhandler, Steam Hammer, who is, I think, a Unicron Trilogy Constructicon, if I'm not mistaken. And like the core of Constructicon Maximus. RID Groundbuster, Cybertron Long Rack, MP Grapple. What else? Dirt Boss, Revenge of the Fallen Dirt Boss, G2 Roadblock, Animated Dirt Boss, Cybertron Menasor, and just for good measure, let's say the Studio Series version of Long Haul. Those and even more. And I suppose arguably at some point all construction vehicles are technically Constructicons, but you know what? I think that it was a topic that was long overdue. I'm glad that we did it. Now it's done. Let me know if your favorites made the list or not, or if your favorites got forgotten and never got any vote at all. quite possible. There's one who, Slowpoke? Was it Slowpoke who turns into a cement mixer and he's a mini-con? Like, I like Slowpoke, but I wouldn't have, yeah, and I would have liked for him to have some votes, but he didn't. Such is life. Anyway, I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, please and thank you, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Why not? And don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.